Welcome to Fresh Bait Friday. On this week's show, I want to start off a little bit different by thanking you, the audience, for taking the time to watch my show. As you know, the show is an evolving process that at this point is being run on creativity and dreams. I've had a lot of IT and technical difficulties, but on the same hand, I've had a lot of people help out and send in donations. So for those of you that have helped me out on the show, I definitely appreciate it. And also those of you that have only viewed the show, I appreciate your views as well. And this is an evolving process, so no, any comments are welcome, and I want the show to be good and exciting, so please feel free to comment or email me at adventures@freshbaitfriday.com. I noticed that last week, someone by the name of Pink Ladybug or the Pink Locust made a comment about the show being boring. I don't think it was so much boring as it was annoying. I sounded like a bad Joe Pesci impersonation when I was interviewing Captain Jim and Captain Dave, saying okay probably 100 times each. So I gotta apologize to both of you for sounding so annoying. It's an evolving process again, and I was running around with my head cut off. So again, lesson learned, and hopefully you enjoy this week's show. So don't hesitate to make comments or let me know if there's things that could make the show better for all of us. So thanks for taking the time to watch my show, and of course all of you supporters, I love you. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful weekend. Hi there, and welcome to Lures, Lines, and Leaders. On this week's show, we're going to start off talking about one of my favorite lures, the Yo-Zuri. This bad boy comes in many different flavors, from colors, weights, sinking, floating, even jointed ones for trolling behind your boat. You can pretty much pick these up anywhere from Walmart to your local bait shop, but they are awesome lures. They're a little bit pricey, but if you do have a few extra bucks, it's definitely worth trying out. The action that it has when it goes by these fish, they just can't take it. Either they're upset or they're super hungry. Either way, they're attacking these lures right and left. This bad boy right here, Chartreuse, this is a floating. It got me a 25-inch gag grouper in Sarasota and many other fish. Obviously, I kept this one because it was my first gag grouper. Also, on a different flavor of the same lure, I brought in a 25-inch redfish. This bad boy, again, could not take that action when it went by. I've caught everything from snook, snapper, you name it. This lure is super versatile, and as I said, it comes in all kinds of flavors. Now that you know that this is a great lure and can catch grouper to snook, let's talk about the price for a minute. It is not a cheap lure, and I have broken quite a few of the 3D crystal minnows on several bridges. Also, I had a Mac come up when I threw this bad boy out. First cast, a Mac hit the line, bit it off, I went swimming for it. They cost anywhere from $11 to $14, so the cheapest place to get these is going to be on Yo-Zuri.com, but it's not a place you want to buy one at a time because it doesn't make sense for the cost of the shipping. If you get hooked on Yo-Zuri and you're going to be using them and keep them as a staple, I recommend buying 5 to 10 at a time on their site, but if you're looking just to try it out, Walmart's got the cheapest price. Now, if you get hooked on one and maybe just want to try out one or two others, your local bait shop is where you're going to have to turn, and they also have a great variety, but they're a little bit pricey. But Yo-Zuri is definitely an awesome lure and going to give it 2 reels up. The next lure we're talking about has become a staple in my tackle box. I saw it on a fishing show, went out and tried it, and started pulling in snook, the DOA glow-in-the-dark shrimp. Comes in different sizes, different weights, and you can buy replacement parts for it, which makes it a really versatile and a cheap lure to use. But all the local flounder fishermen also swear by it. So if you like good eating and you also like snook and the good fight, this is a great lure and one you definitely have to have in your tackle box around here. So without further ado, it gets 2 reels up. To wrap up today's segment, I want to thank Jim Riesel for sending in the donation that allowed me to fill up the Fresh Bait Friday bucket full of lures. So what we're going to do is try all these different lures on the show and let you know how they turned out. The donation allowed us to buy quite a few lures from Bass Pro, and got a nice crankbait here. Of course, got your gotcha. Nice Magnum rattle shad. Got some soft plastics. Some scented jerk shads. Some different kind of shrimp. Deluxe pompano jig heads. Wow, look at that. Salt Life series, look at that. That jig right there is definitely going to bring in some nice fish. Look at that swim mullet. Those two colors right there, with that action on that tail, that's gonna bring in a big fish. Casting jig, the double rig, this is definitely gonna attract some fish for sure. DOA Tear Eyes, new color, so the chartreuse hopefully will bring in some good ones. I got a variety of these jigs right here that I definitely think are gonna pull in some nice ones. Yeah, that bad boy is gonna bring in some action, pink and chartreuse. Can't wait to try out this Salt Life lure. So Jim, thanks again for filling up the Fresh Bait Friday bucket and keeping the show alive. You guys are great supporters. I appreciate all your time and have a wonderful weekend.
Oh my God, check it out. There's a manatee right in front of me. It's so close I can almost touch it. That is so cool.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Adventures with Danimal. Have you ever had a close call or a run-in with the shark? I've had a few myself, and I can tell you each time I find a whole new respect for what's in the water around us. This last time, I was off Casperson Beach fishing, and I had a jack flopping around on the beach just after it gotten off my lure. So in comes a wave, in comes a shark, the jack's gone. It was so fast, I didn't even know what had happened. And last summer, my wife and I were floating our life vests off of Venice Beach just to find ourselves within a few waves of a nice-sized tiger shark. These are things that people don't like to talk about, but the reality is we live in a marine life area, and there are deadly and dangerous marine life all up and down the coast. As you can imagine, it's a difficult task to find someone willing to talk about sharks in Florida in the same sentence. As we all know, there's a fine line and a balance between tourism and the realities of what's in the water just off the beach. Lucky for us, I was able to track down a real-life shark slayer. This man is a legend in the area for being a shark slayer, along with his against the establishment views about shark hunting methods and beliefs. His story is true, but it's for adults with an open mind. Since this show is based on keeping it fresh, having an open mind is just part of the territory. So let's take a look at the movie trailer for the book co-written by Captain Bill Goldschmidt, Sharkman of Cortez, and his wife Marisa, who played a crucial role in bringing this story to life.
Pittsburgh, but I always had a calling to be a fisherman. So I just basically ran away from home, and I was familiar with the parties and the hippie life on Siesta Key, so I hooked up with some guys and girls smoking dope, and we rode out to Siesta Key, and I slept on a picnic table, and that's how I got here. But that was a long time ago. Sharkman of Cortez is about the pursuit of adventure, the adrenaline rush, overcoming fear, tragedy, and personal demons, and searching for that most elusive of all, love. I became obsessed with shark killing after a hammerhead killed my dog. Started hunting sharks after that. Wasn't much information on catching sharks back then. I had no mentors, so I learned by trial and error. I got good at it. I became a successful fisherman. Loved a few surfer girls too. I thrived on the Bahamian life, but like anyone, I hit roadblocks. I had near-death experiences. I learned to conquer sea creatures, but I couldn't tackle lies or deception from those human predators. My story is a book for adults. My views are from the eyes and the mind of a fisherman, a shark hunter, a survivor of Mother Nature and human nature. I'm Captain Bill Goldschmidt. Most people call me the Shark Man.
after that, I had to meet Captain Bill and maybe learn a thing or two. I can tell he's been interviewed many times before, and there's even a 4-part in-depth interview on YouTube you can check out as well. As you know, the show's about learning new things and finding out the real deal. Captain Bill is not only a shark expert, but has a wealth of fishing knowledge in general. When I showed up to interview him, he happened to have on hand one of my least favorite fishing items, the circle hook. So he stopped for a minute to give me the lowdown and the history on the famous circle hook.
This is not rocket science, really. This is pretty simple. Actually, this circle hook, that's what the Fish and Game Commission called it, but it really was invented in the 20s and by the Japanese, and they called it the Japanese tuna hook.
A tuna hook?
It's a tuna hook, and the reason they invented this was because of the method of fishing. They would chum up the tuna at the surface with white bait, and then the fishermen, usually 3 at a time, 3 fishermen each, would have a cane pole and all attached to one hook. And the purpose of the tuna hook was when the tuna would be ravenously feeding at the surface, they would hit the hook, and the 3 fishermen in tandem would pull the tuna out of the water over their head so it would land in the boat. And they didn't have the time. They didn't have the time to disconnect the hook from the fish. So basically, because of the motion, the tuna, when he would bite on that hook, would clamp down on it, and when he's pulled over the head, he would open his mouth and release and fall off the hook.
No way.
So that's how they would. And as I said, you saw the pictures in the book.
So the hook's not really getting set. They're just biting down on it.
They're just biting down, and then they got to release it.
So they're not even really getting hooked in the mouth at all. So that kind of defeats the whole purpose,
That's
right?
That's basically it. There's your Japanese fisherman
Okay.
working along there. There's your 3 fishermen in tandem, and there's the well with all the tuna, and there's a tuna being pulled up, and that's basically
Those
what
are
they did.
3 guys on one tuna.
3 guys on one tuna.
Wow.
They just pulled it up, and the tuna would release, fall off of the tuna hook, because if they use this hook, this
J?
would penetrate the jaw. So it's basically common sense. And the Florida Fish and Game claims that this is the hook they want you to use to release the fish with.
Okay.
You're going to do more damage. You're going to tear more flesh and rip open the mouth of the fish trying to get this hook out as opposed to this hook.
Regardless of which side of this you fall on, this is just one of the many sides of the fishing industry that has changed drastically over the decades. I enjoy a good true story, but learning from those who've lived the tale is simply priceless. So meeting with Captain Bill was very cool for me. So check out his book, Sharkman of Cortez, for the true and entire story of the Sharkman of Cortez. Thanks for watching Adventures with Danimal, and have a great weekend.